Hello, friends and beautiful people. It's Catherine. I want to give you an opportunity to shift something in your energy really, really quickly. So, the intensity of what you're feeling right now is felt by many. Don't feel alone. Don't feel like you're just twisting in the wind with this craziness and this, surge of really, really heavy or dense energies. Instead of meeting it head on and feeling like you have to battle it in that same level of intensity, let me give you some really quick tools around shifting that. So, we might be feeling this intensity for a lot of different reasons. There are some really big reasons why. We're having difficulty feeling human and being okay with being human at the moment. I did a post about that the other day. If you want to check that out on my profile, please do. Or if you want me to tag you on it, I will. But you may be feeling this incredible intensity, and the shifts right now that are happening have to do a lot with not properly grieving lost parts of self. So I want to talk about that here, and I'm going to share this in a few places. Why not? I'll share it. Sharing. Sharing is caring. Okay. Okay. So if you're not properly grieving the loss of the old version of you, you're not really making room for the next shift to take hold in your life. You're not giving the space that needs to be there so you can have room to shift into something, right? So if we are just saying, no, I'm not this person anymore, and we're in like in this kind of like almost denial and self-delusion about like, well, this used to be me, but I'm not this person anymore. Yet we might still be thinking, in the ways that this old version of us thought, or still believing certain things that this old version of us thought. So in our inner reality, it's just chaos, it's disorder, and we are battling contrast. So when we don't allow proper burial for the feelings, the thoughts, the ways of believing that aligned with this version of self that really doesn't support us anymore, it's not benefiting us anymore, it's an outdated version of us. If we're still thinking along the same lines of those kinds of thoughts, having those kinds of beliefs, it's like we're keeping that version of self alive. So grieving lost parts of self is a real thing, and we need to be able to treat it like something that deserves our honor, it deserves our respect, it deserves us really recognizing and reframing, how we can appreciate this version of self, but not be sucked back into her or him. Okay, so I want to give you some really, really quick and easy tips so that you can shift this in your energy very quickly. If you find that, things are coming up, echoes of you, maybe they're not how you actively relate to the world anymore, but maybe there's things coming up during dream time, or there's things coming up when you do your mindfulness or meditation or your envisioning work. These echoes that you would recognize as a previous version of self. How do you still feel about them? Are you in self-denial of the feelings that are coming up when you think of this echo of you? Okay. So if there's something still painful there, if there's something feels like there's not really closure there, or it feels like, I'll be honest with myself, I could still go back to this version of me at any time. Just be honest with yourself about this, okay? Be the gentle observer. So this is the first part. Be the gentle observer. Get into the softness. Get into the stillness. Don't be afraid of sitting with something that feels like an echo of you. It feels like a part of you that's not ready to go quite yet. The reason it might not be able to go quite yet is because you haven't grieved it. You haven't grieved it and let it go. And, properly dismissed it and said, you know what, thanks for being there for me, but I don't need you anymore. I don't need the version of you that thinks this way about the world. I don't need the version of myself that thinks in inner critic mode all the time. I don't need to be this version of self that's constantly dimming my light, diluting my desires and making them smaller, compromising myself in any way, shape, or form. How do you really feel about yourself? And are you giving yourself like the softness and the stillness to sit with that? Honor who you've been, okay? So if you've got any of this stuff coming up, just honor who you've been. All it is you being intentional about that. It's nothing you have to really do to honor, appreciate yourself. You don't have to stand on one leg under a full moon and, cast a crazy spell. It's just about putting your hands on your heart and saying, you know what? You did the best that you could with the amount of information that you had at the time, right? Be the gentle observer. So one way to do this is to create an inventory, okay? Create an inventory of what you've moved and shifted through over the last year. You could even do it over the last 6 months. If the last 6 months of your life has been particularly trying and challenging, go through that, catalog it. Don't be afraid to look at this stuff. Understand that you don't have to get sucked into the vortex of the old version of you. When you're in gentle observer mode, it's like occupying the highest aspect of you. So call forth your higher self, put your hands on your heart, call your God self, and ask that the highest aspect of you, the gentle observer, the compassionate witness of you, come forward to be able to evaluate properly this situation. So that way you don't have to get sucked into ego, okay? And it's just you being intentional, okay? There's no special process you have to do. Just call this forward. And so look at this. Create an inventory of what you've moved through and shifted through over the last year or 6 months or whatever window of time has been particularly trying and challenging for you, okay? Focus on what comes to mind first. Then whatever follows that, just go with it. Be in the presence and the stillness of what is coming up. The next part, clean up the story of you. Okay, this is how we're not actively grieving an older version of self. Clean up the story of you. So where are you still holding up, this image of you, or holding this story of you in place that you are someone who suffers, you are someone who struggles, you're someone who is always wanting and never having. This is an old story. This is not aligning with who you are in the new earth. This is not aligning with a higher resonance of you. It's certainly not aligning with where you want to be going. If you're saying you want to make any improvements in your life, then holding on to this identity and story of you as someone who is always struggling and suffering, always wanting and never having, you need to clean that up, okay? So this is also, when you're holding on to this, it's the exact thing that's allowing you to tolerate where you're at. Saying, well, this is just how it is. This is just who I am. Not true. Not so. That's you telling yourself your own self-denying, self-discounting story. It's not true unless you believe it is and act on it, okay? So love and forgive yourself for tolerating where you've been by saying whatever it is that you say. This is just how it is. This is who I am. This is me being a product of my family and my ancestry. Any excuse that you give that is allowing you to tolerate where you're at, simply love yourself and say, I forgive myself for doing this. I see how this is self-diminishing. No one in the world, no experience or other person is making me feel put upon. This is me doing this to myself, and I forgive myself for that too. It's a very easy thing, and it's the most simplest and quickest shift that we can make to love and honor and accept and forgive ourselves for where we are right now, and to say, you know what? I understand that this is where I am. I get that this is what I've created, but I get to choose something different now. I get to do life differently now. And it's so easy to love and forgive yourself and give yourself that space. So love and forgive yourself for not knowing any better, but now you do, okay? And then on to the other steps. Forgive anyone or any situation who's involved in the story of who you've been. So it's the game of life that we are here to have this experience of the game of life through other people, through other experiences, through certain events, certain periods of life. So where can you, when you're doing this inner inventory, Look at a period of life that was particularly challenging. Who were the players involved in that with you? Family members, friends, a spouse, an ex, a child, a cousin, a coworker. It doesn't matter who it is. Anyone is on an equal playing ground in terms of being forgiven. And it's not, when you are forgiving this person, even though you might feel hard done by or put upon by a certain person or event, the ultimate forgiveness piece is you forgiving yourself. Okay? When you don't allow yourself this space to forgive yourself, you're not allowing yourself to give proper burial to a version of you that's outdated, outmoded, that doesn't support you where you're going. When you hold this space for, just always needing to grieve but never grieving, meaning never being present with the stuff that's painful, but can you let it go? What are you getting from holding on to it? What are you getting from holding on to the unforgiveness you might have for this person or event? It's like taking a shot of poison and expecting someone else to die when we don't forgive someone else, or we just don't let them go, okay? And that closure piece, the myth of closure, having someone else say that they're sorry, or that, they are apologetic in any way or form for what they did to you, how they hurt you. Don't run around and wait to grieve this part of self until you get that, because that may never come. And then where will you be? It always comes back to you being able to forgive yourself. And even if that means maybe forgiving yourself for not having the best judgment about the people you brought into your life or the event or situation you got yourself involved in. Can you forgive yourself even if you think, well, I should have known better? Understand that when you're saying something like that, you are stuck in a consciousness loop and you're not forgiving. You're not properly grieving. You're not giving proper burial to this old part of you. Anytime you say, it should have been different, I should have been different, I should have known better, you are dragging the past into the present over and over and over again, and that's called a consciousness loop. So you may be stuck in a consciousness loop and feel like, well, I'm going forward, I'm moving forward, and yet the same kind of events, the same kind of people, the same kind of situations keep coming into your reality, and then you're saying, like, why am I being punished? No one is punishing you. You are simply not allowing yourself to forgive yourself and accept yourself for maybe not knowing better at the time, and that's okay. This is the progression of life. We learn as we go, right? We take on new lessons as we go, but we have to be able to make peace with the ones that have already come in and say, okay, I see where that piece is now. I see where that lesson can be integrated and processed, and I can be done with it. Okay, huge part. So when you do that, and you can clear up the story of who you've been, then you can go on to the next step, which is to recognize and reframe. So what previous beliefs were attached to this? Maybe these painful events that come in that you want to forgive yourself for, or forgive someone else for. What were the beliefs involved? What was the mindset involved? What were you thinking? What were you feeling? What were your beliefs about the world or the beliefs about yourself when you were involved in this particular situation? Do they still hold up for you? Do you still think those are true? Because if it was a painful moment of reckoning in your life where you were particularly challenged, and if you can integrate and process that lesson and say, okay, I see what happened there. I see how this serves me, and I can see how going forward, I don't have to be in that place where I can, hurt myself again. And you can avoid that pitfall. But then you have to clean up the belief that got you there in the first place. You have to clean up the mindset and the way of feeling about yourself or the world that created that perfect storm for you to have that lesson in the first place. Clean up the energy so you can avoid that pitfall again. Write new beliefs. So look at those beliefs that you had that were, let's just say, assigned to or tethered to that situation. Where do you get to recognize those now and then reframe it? Write some new beliefs around it. Write something that directly contrasts those beliefs that you had before. Be willing to think these new thoughts then. You got to vibe with them. I mean, we can have affirmations, till the cows come home, but if we don't believe them, They're no good. They're just words. It's just garbage coming out of your mouth unless you believe them, right? Be willing to think these new thoughts, and you will give these outdated and underserving beliefs proper burial, okay? That's part of burying the old you and giving it proper burial, allowing yourself to grieve with it, let go of the beliefs and the thoughts and the feelings that were part of that, okay? Be willing to be led by the heart. This is everything about where we're going now. So when we keep going on and on about, I'm so put upon by the world, I'm so challenged, everything triggers me, I just feel stuck, I can't move forward, stop yourself, take a deep breath in, put your hands on your heart. Hi, Nicole. And just say, I'm willing to be led by the heart. I am willing to be in solution-based energies. When you can say that and really be in the space of that willingness, you are in a place of acceptance. You are in a place of availability. You are saying, in other words, when you are willing to be led by the heart, universe, God, higher self, spirit teams, those who are here to help me out and help me evolve at this time, I'm putting the trust in myself to be able to listen to you. I'm putting the trust in you that I'm always supported. I'm available. I'm available for solution-based energies. Anytime we realign our energy back with the heart instead of the head where the inner critic lives, we are aligning with a solution-based energy grid. This is a self-sustaining energy grid with endless resources, opportunities, synchronicities, the right people, the right situations, the right events that help us evolve and help us go where we're asking to go. When you keep aligning with the head and going over and over again about all the ways it should have been different, all the ways that you're not a great person, or you should have known better, or all these other things, you are aligning your energy with the head and the inner critic. As I've talked about many times in my courses, you're never going to be enough for your inner critic. Stop trying to appease that part of you. There's nothing you can do that will ever be enough for this part of you. It is wired for your safety, and so you can never be safe enough. It's a part of you that is wired to only scan for threats. So anywhere you're feeling like you're moving into new territory and it feels big and fearful and you are unworthy of it, you're going to set yourself up to have the inner critic take the reins of your life over and over and over again. But when you're willing to be led by the heart, it's like surrendering in full trust and deep listening to a part of you that knows what's really going on, that can see all the moving parts of your life, that is beyond the veil of your inner critic's ego programming and can see all these other things that are available to you just beyond the periphery of who you are when you're living in alignment with your inner critic, okay? I'm available for a solution-based energy grid. Me too. And so be willing to be led by the heart. What guidance is coming in now? Again, this is about presence. This is about stillness. Are you giving yourself this place to be in the softness? When you keep butting heads with all this stuff that feels so heavy and so dense and so static in your reality, it's like trying to solve the energy with the same energy that created it. That's never going to work. You're never going to be able to solve a problem with the same kind of energy that created it. So you're solving something that's aligned with the ego and an energy grid of lack and the inner critic's programming to constantly scan for threats and look for ways that you're in danger. That's never going to be an accurate portrayal of reality. Never. But when you are aligned with the heart and love-based frequencies, you are aligned with solution-based energy. You're aligned with guidance. But we have to, it's a subtle frequency, so we have to shut the fuck up. We have to sit down and be in the stillness. And we have to be soft and gentle with ourselves. Everything that's leading the forward momentum of the planet right now has to do with unity consciousness. This is love. This is a higher master aspect based energy. This is supreme omnipotent guidance if we're available for it. And how do we make ourselves available for that frequency? We've got to be able to be soft with ourselves. We have to be the gentle observer, okay? And then when you're willing to do that, that's when the magic happens, because all kinds of things start to be available to you. You start to notice things that maybe even a moment before were not there. They were, but you weren't in an energetic frequency to have awareness of them. Now you are, because you've allowed yourself to be the gentle observer. You've let yourself off the hook for where it should have been different, how life should have been different, all the mistakes you made, all the ways you failed, and all the other bizarre, erratic, and contradictory ways that we attempt to diminish ourselves and keep our light dimmed. Don't do that. You don't have to do that. You can love and forgive yourself. And that's the closure that you need to be in that place of properly grieving who you've been. You're also honoring and accepting, this is what got me here, though. Maybe there weren't many wholesome things about those experiences, but even so, they still got me here. I'm still kicking. I'm still breathing. Can you be in that place of honor and respect for yourself, of accepting, like, this is where I am now. And as much as I may not have liked these things, they got me here. Thank goodness. Thank Goddess. Thank whoever you want. But ultimately, thank and honor, appreciate, and forgive yourself for not knowing any better before. But now you do. Now you do know better. And so when you're in this softness, that's the healing. And pay attention, really listen, be in the softness, be in the stillness. Where is it guiding you to next? Maybe it's guiding you towards something else you need to look at. Maybe it's guiding you towards something that was just underneath the surface of your awareness and is now fully conscious to you. Don't be afraid of it. It's all you. It's all part of you. When we don't want to take those things on and look at them, it's like saying you're afraid of yourself. This sets up a contradictory energy in your inner reality every single time. There's nothing about you that's too painful, too scary to look at. Nothing. The universe never gives you anything that you can't handle. Accept that truth and know that whatever you look at with love, and you look at it in the highest aspect of you, has the capacity to heal, to release, to move, to shift, to upgrade. Okay? Nicole says, right, choice by choice and step by step, we can earn our wounded ego's trust. Absolutely. Absolutely. And even when, that inner critic is sounding off, telling us all the ways we're not good enough, understand it's just a part of you that is conditioning. It's a part of you that's programming. It's not there to hurt you. It's not there to wound you. It's not there to, make sure you have a bad experience of life. None of those things are true. It's just wired for protection. But if we keep delegating our awareness and looking for that part of ourselves to give directives, it can't do it. Because we are, we are pioneering new frontiers of reality every single day. This is not the usual stomping ground for the ego or the inner critic. It has no idea how to deal with or give directives or advice on the unknown. It is not programmed for that. So anytime you feel unsafe or unstable, understand it's just the ego doing what it needs to do. And you can say, look, I got this. I'm all about navigating new frontiers now because I know it's going to take us where we want to go. So you can talk to your ego. I always do. Ego, trust me. I got this. We're going to do this. And it's going to be safe. And it's going to be wonderful. And we're going to create a new normal. And I'm going to take you there with me, right? Instead of feeling like you have to butt heads with the ego all the time. And then lastly, you can do a collapsing timeline statement. I'm collapsing any and all timelines where I am unable to recognize, properly grieve, and then fully let go of lost parts of self. And you can write this down and say it throughout the day and really feel it, really believe it. Again, you could put your hands on your heart. I am collapsing any and all timelines where I am unable to recognize, properly grieve, and then fully let go of lost parts of self. And notice how you feel when you say that. And you can say it over and over again until the energy clears, until you start to feel a shift in your inner reality. Say this enough and you will. So all of this is just a small part of a much bigger healing we're going to be doing next month, in the month of June, in Tao of the Divine Disruptor. We are all about the body and having the body catch up with its programming so that it can help us better navigate the new frontiers of reality that we are experiencing, the shifts, the momentum that's being created daily around this. We are creating all kinds of new and unique ways to burn out the nervous system. We don't have to do that. And in fact, we can teach the body. We're here to teach the body, but we'll never teach the body from the body's energy. We have to teach the body how to hold more light, more information, more room for upgrades by being in the highest aspect of who we are. So this is the thrust of the entire month of June, is going to be focusing on this theme of bringing the body up, its energetic up, so that it can hold more light for these shifts, so we're not constantly burning out the nervous system by feeling this intensity. Not properly grieving for lost parts of self is just one of the ways that we burn out the nervous system. We don't have to do that. We don't have to do that. It's also diminishing to all the systems in the body, not just the nervous system, but the immune system, the endocrine system. I mean, every system in the body is affected by the stress that we feel in the body by not being able to catch up with the light frequencies hitting the planet. But we can teach the body how to do that. And I'm going to share with you in the entire month of June how to do that. And we're going to be working with the time release grid. Those of you who have worked with me in DNA activation and restructuring, you know how powerful that can be. And some of you have even been taught by me how to use the time release grid. This is an incredible instrument for healing. It augments any kind of healing that you do. So if you are an energy healer or light worker, this is going to be such a beneficial healing for you. So if you're called to this program, we meet every Wednesday through the end of 2022 together in this powerful metaphysical mentorship, and it's for women, and you are most welcome to come and join us. The price on it is going to keep going up, so get in now. Get in now and get ready to really shift the body, upgrade the body. In June, our focus is on that. So I hope this has helped you today. And happy Friday. Have a great weekend. If you're interested in DNA activation and restructuring, I have now spots open for June. So lots of love and peace for you all. Mwah. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.